the world is not what it seems, obviously. And so the normal approaches to a world that is different than maybe you've been seeing it since you've grown up, well, that then asks you, at least I've found that it asks me to show up in a different way. And one of those ways is through the art of allowing. The art of allowing is simply moving with things, right? But it's a little more than that. It's going, okay, the universe is actually here to help me. It's actually on my side. And when you think of it that way, then the things that you put out in the universe and realizing, okay, you're not going to necessarily know everything, right? There's no way. You know a finite spectrum. Knowing that and knowing that your subconscious rules in many different ways, then it's saying, okay, let's allow for what shows up and work with that rather than always having this idea that you have to make it happen. And stick with me because I've got some fun ways to exercise that on a regular basis that allow you to actually be seen at the same time. Now, if you've been in any sort of journey along the way, you've gone down any sort of rabbit holes, you know this world is not what it seems at all. There's all kinds of different examples of that. The Monroe Institute and people having near-death experiences and just different ways that we've shown where we have much more, the double slit experiment, we have much more involvement in our world than we've been kind of taught, right? Intentionally so. You can go down that rabbit hole or whatever. But in the end, the idea is there's much more behind the world than what you see in the 3D elements. Given that, how can you combine your intentionality with the 3D world? One of the ways I believe we can develop the muscle of allowing things to unfold is through content creation. I consider the lens a teacher, a guide, and a portal. It's a portal into your subconscious. It's a portal into who you are on a deeper level. And when you start working with video, when you start working with content and expressing yourself in ways that you hadn't done before, but keys into a deeper part of you, your life purpose starts to shine through much more. It's an uncovering. Now, some people go into, becoming someone else or embodying this identity, but a new identity. But I don't believe that it's that way at all. I believe that the lens as a portal is actually uncovering what's already there. And the process of creating, you go beyond the matrix, what the matrix has kind of held for you, and you start to embody the truthful part of you at a deeper level. And I know that sounds like it's fantastical, like you're just creating videos. What's the deal? But if you look at all the different videos on YouTube that talk about doing video over and over and just starting, you can see that there's a total transformation in those people. And the same transformation can happen for you. It's through exercising your voice. And your voice, if you think of Nikola Tesla, 369. Nikola Tesla and 369. If you look at that, it's like there's a possibility for listening to something 3 times, speaking it 3 times, and writing it 3 times. There's something to be said for actualizing the different frequencies we have available to us that affects our world in ways we cannot know, but definitely does. And that's where things get surprisingly fun. Okay, take a look at this tree right here, right? Take a look at how it's grown and how it is. I don't know that this tree actually sprouted up and intended for this to be part of its existence, right? But it was presented with whatever happened to make this happen. And it just kept growing. It kept going. And the thing of it is, that's what we do in life, right? We go, okay, here's this experience and that experience. Things don't always show up the way you think they are going to, but you keep on going and you manifest but you keep on going with what reality has. But we have a little more agency than the tree. But part of that, I think, is actually keying into our intuitions. Because when you look at how we show up in the world, how we've been trained to show up, and our doing and our masculine and making things happen and so on, that has great effects that can happen. But at this point in time, things are changing rapidly. Our understanding of things are changing. The dynamics of how we relate to each other are changing. And one of the biggest ways I think that we can actually show up in the world differently is by using our body as a pendulum, using our intuition to the full extent to drop into who we are so that we make decisions from that core, right? Instead of from what we've been kind of brainwashed to do and set to do. And there's a lot of uncovering in that, but it can happen like that. There's all kinds of healings that happen instantaneously. It really is about frequency. The frequency, the resonance with which you show up. Like the words matter. What you say in a video, what you say to people, it does matter. But at the same time, the frequency and resonance with how you show up with those words, that comes across. And when you start creating and you start meeting like-minded people and you start really creating a community of your own that helps other people around the world as we do this, as the old world crumbles, all of what we do through our voice, through our actions, and through aligning with each other at a deeper level, that allows the new to come into place, to be a bridge to something else. So what I've done is set up a 30-day video experiment challenge. It's something that I've done before, but this time it's a little bit different in that I'm putting it in school with other tools that allow for the opening up of intuition, that allow for using your body as a pendulum, that allow for actually fully realizing who you are at a deeper level so that purpose comes through more, so that you're more aligned with who you are. It allows for the uncovering of that. Now, can I promise that? No. What I can promise is that when you go through these, you will have a system to create videos on a regular basis, and you will show up on camera more confident than before. That's just a natural outcome of really going through 1% better and really just showing up. All you have to do is show up. All you have to do is show up. Something magical happens in all this. And I've got different tools to allow that to happen. But you have to embrace a bit of uncertainty to have that come through, right? It's a bit of the art of allowing for the unfolding of things. Now, I'm going to describe a little bit more, but if you're particularly interested right now, there's a link in the description to the school. And recognize that as I do this, it's an unfolding of itself as well. See, it's all meta. But stick with me because I've got a few different examples that show why this works out so well. So one of the fun studies that I read up on was this one with a group of students, right? One group of students had a task of making the perfect mug. And that's all they had to do, just the perfect mug. And the other group of students, they just concentrated on iterations. They weren't working on perfection. They were just working on quantity. And what's interesting about this whole study is basically the students that practiced that iteration, they actually had wonderful mugs that they came up with. They weren't so focused on perfection. They were just getting the process down. And that's what video is about. It's about iterations and getting comfortable and just going for it. And part of that is releasing this idea that you have to know what you're going to say all of the time. You have to have a script, the perfect script, and you have to hook people in and so on and so forth. But the world is changing. And one of the ways it's changing to the benefit of us is recognizing being human. You know, people are tired of the AI, all the slick stuff, so on and so forth. I mean, that's been true for a while, but AI kind of focuses it even more, right? And so how does that come to our benefit? Well, it comes to our benefit because guess what? We can show up as we are. In fact, the more we show up as we are, just as ourselves, and deepening that, the more the people kind of gravitate to what we're saying and go, okay, this is real. The contrast that you have with all the other slop is very real. And in that sense, you get a chance to just be you. It's the one time where people are rewarding you for just being you, right? And so if you're sitting there going, yeah, I agree with this, but I just don't know what to say and I don't know what to do. And I've always wanted to voice something, but I just can't. Guess what? Nobody can. You go into the gym and you start with the lower weights and you keep going until you get stronger and stronger. And it's the same thing with video. It's just iterations and being comfortable with your voice again and recognizing that our voice has been subdued in us. Our connection to each other is through voice, is through collaborations, is through all that. And so we've been told that to be independent and isolated and so on. But I think what we're coming back to are communities. We're coming back to actually connecting to each other again. And part of that is to actually release our voices again and actually speak with resonance, speak with truth, and connect with each other again in that way. Now, you might be wondering, well, okay, but I could just do this myself. Why would I join the group and all that? And it's a fair question, right? But let me show you why this is going to be a little bit different than just a 30-day video challenge. So how's this video challenge different? Well, think of it as my approach is different. A lot of people will have blueprints. Now, I made over 500 videos on YouTube, been on there doing a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. I've run challenges before. And the thing of it is, people have this blueprint. Like they think, okay, this is the way I did it. And so I'm going to teach you how I did it. And you're going to do it the same way. And you're going to see success. But here's the thing. With the art of allowing, that doesn't allow for you to show up completely necessarily, right? It's good to have structure. And it's good to have simplicity. And that's basically what I'm relying upon, is simplicity. I believe in actually filming just anywhere. Anywhere I'm at is a playground to film in. I'm not just gonna say, okay, you have to have this perfect lighting and you have to be in this perfect spot. You can be anywhere. You can be by a river and just speaking your truth. And what happens is when you're in nature and when you're able to speak from that instead of stuck into an apartment or stuck into this little cubicle or wherever you're at, trying to get the perfect lighting and trying to make yourself look so professional, when really the audio here might be a little bit off because of the noise of the water. And you might say, well, I can't deal with that. The wind comes up and so you're like, I can't deal with that. That's so bad. It's not perfect. Guess what? That's by design, right? You're supposed to allow for what unfolds before you. The tree that I used before, did I know that was going to show up in my video? No. I came across the tree and it made sense and I used it. That's the same thing you're doing. The universe is trying to help you in so many different ways. So this challenge actually releases you from thinking that you have to have the perfect lighting and all that. You do want to have a good mic. I consider this mic to be really, really good. And I'll have a link to all these different simple resources that, it doesn't have to be complicated. The editing process doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, in a lot of ways, within the whole challenge, the focus is on just speaking. It's not on editing. There's this one challenge I did, and it was a 30-day challenge. It was a 30-day live challenge, and it was beautiful. I loved that because the process of going live, you just show up, and whatever happens. You're not like you can edit it, right? The challenge that I'm doing now is actually kind of a balance between the two, because it's getting into a space where you're allowed to show up as you are, and you just allow for what happens with minimal editing, if any editing. In some cases, just don't edit at all. Practice doing that. And so you have a semi-live. Live to get a little bit complicated because you have to do different software to make it work and so on and so forth. But with this, you can just pick something. I've got an Action 5 Pro that I'm using. You can use your phone. A number of very simple resources. The best thing you can do in this challenge is make it as simple as possible to have a location you could go to, start filming, go on your walk. I'm sure you've got thoughts in the morning. I find it to be some of the best times to expound upon things. In the morning, I wake up and I've got some thoughts. But anytime you've got those thoughts, it's basically coming through and saying what they are and expounding upon them. And then what's interesting is connecting the dots between them. And I've got different tools to do an analysis where you start to see patterns and you start to connect the dots between all of what you're doing. And it allows you to actually break through those patterns and get to the next level. There's all different ways. Video is so much more. And I include different ways of writing that actually brings out a lot more as well. So I invite you to the challenge. Even if you're not going to be using video like for a business or for whatever you're doing, showing up with video actually gets you to use your voice again. And in that resonance, you'll find a deeper truth emerges. And you also start to practice the art of allowing through the process of creating video. And that actually moves into other parts of your life. I believe working with the universe, flowing with it, flowing with love, flowing with just how things show up. The universe wants you to succeed. And it's recognizing where we've been programmed otherwise, blocked from nature, blocked from connecting to ourselves, to our sexuality, to who we are at a deeper level. All of it is being blocked. And this is the time to remove all those blocks. And part of that is being able to use your voice again, and through that voice, through the mirror of the camera, as a teacher, guide, and portal, you then drop further into purpose, create and connect with like-minded people. It's beautiful. So join me, see the link below. I've got some more videos that even if you aren't joining the challenge, subscribe. It kind of expounds upon some different ideas. It does get into the woo-woo, but I believe that where we're at now is recognizing where science and woo-woo are meeting and where we've actually, the truths have been covered so that we don't drop into our true power. So follow along, because we've got some explorations, some other people that I'll be bringing on here, different interviews and different things where I'm just, opening up. I myself will be sharing resources from a ton of other people, books and other experts. It's not about me. I'm a guide, not a guru, right? And in that sense, I'm in the school. I will be sharing more resources that are really kind of hard to share on YouTube because of different reasons. And here is an introduction to that. School goes a little bit further, and I'll share further. But I invite you to that challenge. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.